came into the work, we came in as though we want to help the pastor. It is the business of the pastor. If I have time, I'll do it. If I don't have time, so sometimes that kind of heart might make a man to ignore instruction from the pastor to be in the meeting. I was in business, my wife and we were serving under pastors. Each time we are going to have a meeting or we are going to have a crusade somewhere, we will shut down our office. No business for those period of time. We will shut down completely. And then we'll go. It is when we return, we'll come and open the place. Even when I was serving in an office and I have boss, I will come to work very early enough, and I will close when I should close. I may from there I go for fellowship. I come back. On Saturday, my office is a Bible study center. We'll come there. My chief accountant had and said, I'm going to put this office at the church. And I asked him which one pays him to make it a beer parlor or a church. And I said, but I don't even tamper with office hours. So I am thinking that if it is the Lord who has commanded me to join the choir, every other thing will wait when it is for me to be at my duty post. But if it is a bribery, if I can afford, I give. If I cannot afford, I will not give. I think that's our problem. And sometimes the second one I want to say is that some pastors also, they do it as if it's a favor for you to serve. And so they make us to feel big by serving. No. No. Every man should be persuaded to do what is asked to do. Here, I don't force anybody. If you want to, you serve. If you don't, and I will not cry over it. But when the Lord has convicted a man's heart and persuaded him that that is where he should be, he will throw away. There are people who apply for casual leave to be in this meeting among the resource persons. It's not as if they are jobless. But they have to apply for leave for them to be here, because they saw that this is where God wants them to be now. Even though they are serving somewhere, serving God there too, yet this is critical. So it depends. It depends on our relationship with God. Even as a full-time pastor, I could decide to be doing something else. You know, I share it over where they are not so much committed. Money do. So I think it's about the heart. It's about the person. If the Lord has persuaded a man to be a Sunday school teacher, and there is a solemn assembly where his life could be groomed for that business, he will be there. Akisana Lugbari, we were also under pastors. We grew under pastors, and we attended meetings. I was playing the message I mentioned yesterday in the car, and I was telling the brethren, was asking, when I said 1988, I said myself and my wife were not married that time. We got married that same year. The meeting was held in February, we got married in October, but the two of us went for that ministers' conference in Ayobo. We're not full-time ministers as it were, but we shut down to be in that ministers' conference because we saw ahead where the Lord was taking us, and we saw that we need to be in that ministers' conference. So we went there, even though we're not married. The two of us went for the meeting, 1988. That's 30 years ago. So it depends on the heart. It depends on the individual. And I think each of us should check our hearts. Unto whom is this service rendered? To your pastor or unto God? If it's unto God, then excuse me, he can't owe you anything because you didn't give him anything. Your life is given to you. Your time is given to you. Your skill is given to you. Everything came from him. So you are not doing him any favor serving him. Actually, you live to serve him. Anybody that God is not using is useless. I don't know if I answer your question, sir. All right. Is there any other question? Okay, Brani, so that you not say,
sir, seeing the weight of the discussion we're having in our Bible study, I want you to imagine, sir, that I am currently a pastor. Maybe I've started my own ministry. But now I am realizing that I called myself. God didn't call me. There wasn't any instruction for me to start what I am doing at the moment. What do you advise that I should do now? Considering that what we are saying, it seems as if this is a very, very weighty matter, and I have committed something that is very, very... Please, I need your advice, sir.
I would say you should recall yourself if you are the one that called yourself. Now, very weighty a matter. Can I say this to you, sir? That from what we have said, from what we have seen in the Bible, we can't deny those things being there anymore. The truth is, no matter how much these boys that fix bad roads, no matter how much sweat they invest into fixing the road, they won't go to the local government to collect salary at the end of the month. If the motorists like, you could give them money. If they don't, they can't arrest me if I don't give them money. Me, you don't want share. Even though don't share, or pay me. So we have members that could be blessed by that ministry, but don't share. The fact remains that that person has no record with God, and there will be no reward. I'll tell you. I was mentioning it here, maybe yesterday or during the preview, that I was into prison work. It was during the preview. We were just teaching about going to the nations and teach all nations. And we're looking at what is nation in the Bible. And we found that nation is not just what we have today as nations. People, language, profession, locality defines nation in the Bible. And as we're checking, so which nations are we to reach, which nations we have not reached. And we found out that we have not reached the nation in the prison. And so we committed ourselves to go to the prison. And then we started. But it was not long when I started having serious crisis. And I started praying. And I realized that God never sent me there. I withdrew. Rashola, we were there together. You remember? I withdrew. And those that God sent, they are still doing it up to now. And it's profiting. And it doesn't mean that God is not interested in prison work, but he's not interested in me going there. We ran a church for 10 years. Some of you know. And it was not as if the church is not viable. It was viable. We're doing well. In fact, if I actually wanted to have a mega church, it would have been very easy. Because everywhere I go to preach the following Sunday, one or two people from that church will fellowship with us on Sunday. I will be the one to push them back. So I have capacity to have grown a very big church. But realizing that that's not what God has sent me, we shut it down. It's like committing suicide. But we did it. And 2006 till now, we're still living. So if God has not sent you somewhere and you are there, excuse me, withdraw. He said, I want to go to Yinko, Talo. Except you are thinking about your stomach. If you are not thinking about your stomach, if you are thinking about eternity, then you should just repent and go to the Lord and ask him what he wants you to do. That's just the way to go. You may need, however, you may need counsel, how to go about it. You know, that one is a different thing entirely. We can now sit down to look at, so how do we approach such decisions? Yes, brother in front. Brother Sunday, you didn't register. I know you didn't register, so there is no way you can come inside. Yes. And there's no late entry form. Yes, my brother.
All right, thank you very much, sir. From the discussion of today and a bit out of the discussion, I want to ask just 3 questions.
Ah, you call that one just?
All right, yes. As a young minister, probably you just started ministering and you have not stayed long, maybe old, maybe young. How do we correct the error of most likely our senior ministers? For instance, you see that your senior pastor is doing something that you feel is not so in the scripture or is not in alignment with the will of God, and you know very well it's not. So how do you, with wisdom, handle the matter that you will not be seen as a rebel? That is one. Secondly, what is the place of those who are hired as priests in court? We have heard of people that they hire pastors, they pay them, they give them money, not necessarily the called ones. So how do we handle that? Then what is the place of those who only come in as being zealous for the Lord? We've heard of people who did not perceive the call of God upon their life. They did not hear anything. But they have been coming for meetings and they just have the zeal to work for God. Not that they had the thing, not that they saw anything. If you ask them, I don't know how true, but I heard that Pastor W.F. Kumuyi came in as such. I don't know how true. That he said he has no call or anything, but as a zealous minister, as a zealous Christian, he started the work for the Lord. So what is their own place also in this mandate? Thank you, sir.
All right. I will tell you that looking at it from a very simple angle, if you are under a pastor who is doing something that you know is wrong, how do you handle it? I wonder how Jesus handled his. He was taken to the temple, all the sacrifices were made, turtle dove, and all that were brought by his parents, and he never challenged it. Even as he was growing, they came to Jerusalem for the feast of Passover. They will kill the lamb, and they will eat. He will also eat. He was growing in that system. He was made under the law, groomed under the law, and until the time was fulfilled. And I think we should be patient enough to grow under that condition until the Lord will give us the platform. Now there is a way for you to show loyalty to an extent that a senior pastor will commit himself to you. When he has seen your sincerity, the pureness, the purity of your actions and your motions, he would defer to you. He will say, young man, I know you are my son. There are things I will have to call my son to help me handle, especially in computer. The boy is just, I don't know, they just seem to understand this thing better than me. When I was young, I would look at my parents, but now I noticed that the younger one are also faster, smarter than myself. I think I have knack for gadgets and all that, but they are smarter. So I have to learn things from him. So sometime when they see the sincerity of our intention, they can listen to us. We must learn not to be arrogant. We must learn not to be rebellious. However, where such influence could not be pushed through, I would advise to do what David did. David was in the army of Israel. Saul was not going to change. all David did was he quietly left the army. And he left in such a way that when he got to the priest said, "Why are you alone? And there is no man with you." And David said, "Look, the matter of the king is very urgent." And he said, "Nobody was here about this errand. Is there any bread under your hand?" And then the priest said, "There is no common bread here except the shewbread. If the young men with you," I said, "Which young men? I thought you said there was nobody with him just now. Where did he get young men?" So I realized that when David left the army, all the regular soldiers that normally will go with him was left in the army. That was why the priest said there was no, because you look at those boys, he said, "These are touts there, these are nobody. These are bloody civilians." So he did not tear the army. He quietly left. Is that all right? All right. For somebody who had come into the ministry and is so zealous, I want you to know that there are different ways by which God calls his men. It is only because many times we are never taught how to recognize divine call. There could be somebody who is doing something and he feels God has not called him because he didn't hear voice in his ear. Now I know it is good to hear voice, no problem. But I also want to tell you that there are people, look at Samuel, it was his mother who dedicated him unto the Lord. Now, I heard a call in 1986, the first time ever that I will hear God that I could write it. That was 1986. But before that time, I'll be praying. I will just look at issues in our church and I will kneel down and I will say, "Lord, this is not right." And I'll hear, "I'm waiting for you." I kept hearing that until I felt, no, I don't like to hear this voice anymore. So I stopped praying about problems in our church. All right. But I realized that by 1991, 1992, there was nothing else that was appealing to me. I didn't find joy in any other thing except when I'm preaching. That's the only thing I will never struggle to do. I tried my hands on so many things, it's not working. But already God told me in 1986, I'm going to serve him, and he told me, I wrote it, I showed it to my wife. We read it together, all what God said to me as we were cutting at that time. So I went to my father. Everything was not working. And I said, is there something you have not told me? We are friends. And he said, I didn't even know I would have a child in life. See, I just remember, I didn't know I would have a child. When I told God that if he would give me a child, he would serve God. By the time he gave birth to me, he was about 70 years of age. Very old man. You know him very well. I'm sure. Very old. So I said, why didn't you tell? Since I came into my room, I wept. I said, but I went to school. And the Lord said, I just allow you to go to improve on your English. There's nothing I need there. I wept more. So you sent me to Ancient for sightseeing. He said, just to improve on your English. There's nothing else I need. Just to improve on your English. And I thank God I went, actually. So, but you could see the level of my involvement in church work was heavy. Was heavy. Even when I became a minister, I was still in the choir. I was still the choir master. If you see, But it didn't occur to me that there were signs that God has called. So sometimes it is not everyone that is zealous that is just zealous for nothing. There are some that zeal, just like Apollos, that zeal was an expression of a divine hand upon their lives. All they need is to just check. I don't know whether that answered your question. What's the third one now? He's an Ayalin. And they are the hired pastors. Hired pastors. Pastor said hired pastor is different from Ayalins. Now, I know that there are professional pastors who had gone to study pastoring and then they apply. Yes. Now, whereas, okay, take Baptist for instance, but that's the style in Baptist. It is the church that employs the pastor. However, you will notice that when that pastor has a genuine call, he is no longer living there and laboring there as an employee. He takes the position of a spiritual leader of that congregation. Only those who are professionals will still be living, laboring, working, and working as employees. Looking at the Bible, it takes God to hire his servant. That's my understanding. It takes God because he owns his servant, and that's just what it is. That's just what it is. And I want every one of us that is here to understand that if you are a servant of God, before I used to do MC and I was good at it for churches when they want to hold meetings. You didn't know that one. I used to do MC for meetings. I'll be the anchor person, marriages, people will invite me and permit me, I was graced in it. I will hold the congregation spellbound till the end. Nobody will be willing to leave until that meeting is over. But I remember one day I went for a wedding. I was the anchor at Kibati in Lagos, and it was just was wonderful. People laughed. You can have a way of cracking jokes and godly jokes. People will laugh and all of that. In fact, before I put once I'm coming like this, people will start laughing. They will start laughing. I finished that meeting and I was driving back to Ibadan. My heart was heavy. I was disturbed. I was peaceless. Then I asked myself, if anybody was in this wedding reception and laughed, and I pick microphone tomorrow now, and I'm preaching something serious, will it take me serious? And I said, forever, I will never deploy God's grace to be doing such thing anymore. That was the last one I did. Because I understand that there is a call of God upon my life. Why will I cheapen it? For what? So there are things I don't do. In the apostolic setting where we came from, once a man is ordained for life till death, his wife must not carry any load on her head. Go and ask for anybody who grows in the apostolic setting. Once they ordain a husband like this, they will tell the wife, you must never carry anything on your head again. Other women will help her to carry things on her head. But that head is carrying something. It's carrying it on her head is like carrying it upon her husband. I don't know whether you understand. So I can't imagine it that a man with God's call upon his life would reduce himself to such a level. No. I don't know whether I answered your question. All right, so 2 questions, I think. Many people is telling me that God's call is upon me, but have not received anything like that from God. What can I do? Please ask. Because the problem is that one brother came here on, I can't remember now, was it on Wednesday? I can't remember him, told me that 2010 or something, he came to meet me. He wanted to relocate to Ibadan, and he felt he could come to our ministry. And he told me his story. I forgot him. I just remember it was reminding me. We sat down at the back there. Just called me that morning. So I went I said, yes. He tried to explain who he said, okay. He gave me a description. So he came here, sat down. I said, he came. And when he told me his story, so I told him that it's not as if we don't need people here. We have space where you can stay. But has God sent you? Why don't you go and pray? He was living in frustration that day. You could see that poverty is looking for plots of land on him. But he drove an SUV when he came here, you know, and he said he has said it everywhere, that he met a servant of God. And I know that even back then, I will have been useful for him. Yet he didn't give me that chance. He asked me to go and ask God. And if God has not sent him, I can't take him. And that it was God that spoke through me. Eventually he found his bearing in life. And he's doing it. Now, the challenge, again, is that why will you do what God has not sent you to do? Because he said, I told him that by the time you step into this thing and there's problem, you will have nothing to hang upon. Say, I told him that if God has not spoken, then there is nothing. There are issues that will happen today and I will just turn back. Say, Lord, you know I will not be where I am if you have not asked me to. Why could this be happening? I have a case to press. But if there is nothing, I'm on my own. I think that's the only question I can see here. So please pray until God answer. How do we handle the issue of church telling the workers to start a church when they are posted to a new environment, even when they are not called? Maybe we should leave it for the church. I must be very sincere with you. It is not wrong. In fact, as a small boy, many of the branches we had, it's somebody who had just built his house and he has moved to a new environment. Inside his sitting room, he starts. Because everyone is sent to preach. As long as he's doing that under the authority of that church. Okay? But that does not mean that he can jump out and say, I have a ministry. No. What covers him is the grace upon the pastor of that church. And he can operate under that grace. I don't know whether you understand me. A man could be a teacher in a school and is teaching well, and parents are saying, excuse me, my child must pass through the hand of this man, and he's doing well. Tọ́lọ́run bá rán ní school, tó bá lọ bẹ̀rẹ̀ school, á jìyà. Tó bá kàn feel pé òun máa wọn mọ́ kọ́. It doesn't mean that he has grace to go and start a school. I don't know whether you understand that. So we must understand this, that the fact that I am doing well, what I am doing now, does not mean that I can survive if I go to start a church. Eh? Uh-huh. When God asked us to come, no more question. No. Even this one, I won't look at it. So don't encourage them to write more questions. When God asked us to come here, only Him could have said so. And I will expect that people will come here. This place, if you see this day where we came in here, even now, it's still a bush. The day the chairman of local government, we brought him here to help us give big notes to students that we used to teach during summer coaching, free summer coaching. He said, and he had promised me that he will be coming. So when he was coming, he said when he got and they were coming, he said, why did I accept this invitation? He said, we are just entering into bush more. We are just entering into bush. He said when he turned from that block into, he said already he had a regret. That so he's going to where there is, why did I accept to come? He said, but when he burst into this place and he saw living human being, normal looking good human being, he said he was shocked. By the time he came into this hall and he saw children from here to the very back, the curtain has cut off some other parts to the very back, he was shocked. He asked me, how did you get these children? I said, God brought them. More than 400 of them were here. So if it is not God, who will have brought them? Many of them with their hijabs, they are here. They are here. We taught them academics, and we show them Christ. But some of those products are ushers among us now. All those children are ushers. Some of them are in the choir, and they are doing well. So if God has not sent you on an errand, please be bold enough not to go. Uncle me kan lo ma n po yan ni. Kéèyàn rọ́jú kankan. Ó sàn ju kéèyàn rọ́jú gbàǹkan. Kéèyàn rọ́jú kọ. Ó ló sàn ju kéèyàn rọ́jú gbà lọ. Rọ́jú kọ. Kan rọ́jú. Just the Lord will help us. Praise the Lord. If we have time tomorrow, this one, I'll put it in my Bible, give it Bible baptism, so that tomorrow I can look at it. Praise the Lord. I would like us to take a hymn and then just to take a charge, share something with you. And I will want to quickly rush to Itamefa Baptist Church. I might leave you with Uncle Mike. I just want us to, verse 7, stand up for Jesus, ye soldiers of the cross. Lift high his royal banner. It must not suffer loss. From victory unto victory, his shall he lead, till every foe is vanquished, and Christ is Lord indeed.